There was a fight in the locker room, but no one was expected to observe and get guidance connection that no one could truly comprehend. The girl who knocked out Alex Eala, 3 Grand Slam winners in one competition, left a court in her own nation seeming uneasy, seems dissatisfied and upset. And in a matter of minutes, she was back on working with her coach on the practice court using a device that the cameras nearly made it. What took place behind the doors that are closed? What has been silently simmering under the surface of the most renowned increase in Filipino history of tennis? Because the narrative you've been informed about her and Alex Eala, it's just half the truth, coaches. Remain with me as what really took place is much more intricate, much more human, and quite striking compared to any highlight reel will ever reveal to you. To comprehend what happened in that locker room? Must first comprehend what was long before any of it started. Sacrifice was made. A 12-year-old Quezon girl, Manila, Philippines, gathered her belongings and took a plane to Manacor, Spain. Her Alexandra Mango Ala was her name, yet she was already known as Alex by everyone. She had just won the PHI-NMA PSC Junior Tennis International Championships in her nation of origin, and the esteemed Rafa Nadal Academy possessed come calling. For the majority of households, that a phone call is a fantasy. For the sake of Ala family, it was a choice that would change everything. The dynamics of household life, the burden of national anticipation, as well as the personal emotional architecture of a small child who might spend her most formative years. Life apart from home. Give it some thought. 12 years old, thousands of miles away, family in a nation whose language she was continuing to study and train every one day under a system intended to create elite tennis players, not help soothe those who are homesick. Rafa Nadal, the academy, is not a kind place. It's a machine, a lovely, orderly, demanding device that has generated champions because it doesn't soften the edges. Additionally, young Alex Eala was thrust into it at a young age. Teenager. Daniel was her first coach there. Gomez would subsequently state that the largest distinction between Asian athletes and their equivalents in Europe are self-control. He saw how Asian athletes are willing to listen at all times. Additionally, he discovered a pupil who absorbed everything. However, hearing is not the same. From concurring, learning to absorb information is not the same as never questioning it. And as the years passed and Eala triumphed junior Grand Slam victories, ascended ranks, and developed from a promising scholarship recipient into an globally renowned expert athlete, the connection between Alex Eala and the procession of moving carriages during her career would become far more complex than any press release ever could continue. By the start of 2025, Eala had collaborated with many instructors from within the system of academies. Daniel Gomez, followed by Vienna's Alexandro Sandro and Joan Bosch. Finally, every swap was presented in public as advancement, as organic development. However, several coaching in a brief period of time, changes are never completely smooth. Every modification introduces a new way of thinking and training rhythm, a fresh interpretation of the reality regarding what Alexa must accomplish in order to be the player that she has the potential to be. And this is the question that no one was posing. Enough loud. What did Alex Eala do? Her self-desire? What did she think? And what transpired after her intuition as a player started to run into the from the bench instructions? Hold on to observing, since the instant that shifted, not everything took place in Miami or the US Open or Wimbledon. It took place in front of her own folks at home. And what followed was something that no one in Philippine tennis was ready. We must have a conversation before we go to Manila, discussing something that most people overlooked. Late 2024 headlines. At the conclusion of Alex Eala had a remarkable season. Coaching shift. She separated from one coach for the academy system and went into 2025 preseason training with an alternative Alexandro Sandro vein. To start. In public, it was all development and warmth. The INA talked to ABS-CBN News with enthusiasm about their collaboration throughout the preseason. The Alex's preseason was excellent. He stated, for 2 weeks, we practiced with 2 tennis matches and 2 workouts. Double the level of fitness lessons as well as double tennis sessions. Thus, although the days were lengthy, we were very fruitful, and we are delighted. Long days, 2 sessions. the tongue of progress presented in an orderly manner to the public consumption. However, there is something beneath those phrases, is something intriguing. If you read it attentively and were thrilled, Alex is not at all pleased. Alex didn't feel fantastic. We make a collective declaration covering anything that may not have been not at all collective. Due to sources near Alex's inner circle characterized the weeks leading up to the season as really demanding. Yes, physically but also on a psychological level. The strain to become a genuine top 100 in 2025 contender following years of rapping on that door was enormous. Additionally, with a new instructor arrived with fresh concepts about serve mechanics, motions, and strategic choices that didn't always conform to the way Aya had constructed her game. All around, Miami followed, and everything in the best manner conceivable, it burst. Given a wild card and ranked 140th, Aya entered the courts of Hard Rock Stadium as an afterthought and left as the largest story in women's tennis. She defeated Madison after defeating Yelena Ostapenko, Keys, the current Australian Open champion. Then, in what may be the greatest, she destroyed the world in a breathtaking moment. EGK in straight sets at number 3. 3 Grand Slam winners, a single competition, 1 wild card, 1 20-year-old from the Philippines, whose role was not merely to be present. When Joan Bosch had assumed the role of her traveling coach for competitions, the machine was completely in motion. Bosch, giving a speech at the Madrid unguarded, unable to control his astonishment at the pace of everything. For me, it was astonished to accomplish what we did in Miami. I was constantly aware that she may be in the top 100, yet everything took place pretty swiftly. Occurred in a flash. That statement is important because when things occur swiftly in tennis, when a player spikes more quickly than the system is intended for, cracks start to show between mindsets, between coaches, between the instructions given to a player and the body and instincts of a player yelling in response. Additionally, Joan Bosch, for his indisputable experience and sincere concern for Aya's growth, symbolized something that Alex was silently starting to struggle. A coaching voice that sprang from the academy's framework, rather than her own changing perception of her identity as a player who is on tour. There was little stress. Initially, hardly undetectable. Next, the Philippine Women's Open took place. What you are going to learn what happened following the largest domestic competition of the media seldom ever covers Aya's life. Covered, but the tennis community is unquestionably observed. January 2026, Manila, Philippines. For the first instance in the WTA's history in Philippine tennis, the tour was returning home. The Philippine Women's Open was taking place. Rosal Memorial Sports Complex Tennis Center, a location that has previously restored, honored, and ready as if Alex Eala were to hoist the trophy and present it to a country that having anticipated this time for generations. Her picture had been painted alongside Manny on a mural Carlos Yulo, Pacquiao, and Hidalin Diaz. She had occupied the second seat. Each ticket was sold. Each Filipino enthusiast in that arena felt the full weight of their hearts that they were going to observe something holy. Additionally, for they were correct at that point, Ella was carefree. Through her first encounter with Elena Char-Eva, 61 6 feet 2 inches. Dominant and clinical. With each victory, the audience cheered. The dream came to life. The screenplay was writing itself perfectly. Next, the Camila Osorio and the quarterfinals. What the duel that ensued was one that clearly tormented Ella. In straight sets, she lost. And reporters that saw the game close observed that she seemed uncomfortable all the way through and critically thought she seemed especially uneasy using her own serve. The service that had been the focus of so many hours and a lot of coaching attention, many academy exercises, several conversations between her coaches and Ella. The one technical component that analysts had widely acknowledged as the secret to her advancing to the next stage. The serve that in front of her own people tonight deceived her at the most inconvenient moment. The next thing that happened was this: the whole narrative comes to life. As said by a reporter on the scene at the Philippine Women's Open, right now after the loss, but not after evening rather than the next morning, Alex Eala proceeded straight from the middle court to a practice court while working with Joan Bosch soon after a painful defeat in the quarterfinals in front of a house audience that had anticipated a miracle. Consider on the significance of that picture. Consider what it indicates about the emotional the moment's weight, both for the coach and the athlete. Within the locker room, during those unfiltered, unprotected minutes, something was mentioned after the loss. Something was resolved. A dialogue not found in journalists' cameras are not able to follow. A 20-year-old lady and who has just disappointed a country and the guy in charge of getting her ready to have prevailed. Sources near the scene characterized the mood as strong. Ella was more than just honing your skills. She had a particular project in mind. Hurriedly, clearly unhappy with her face that remained visible when she returned to the practice court. Was she frustrated with herself? Nearly, of course. Was it annoyance with the strategy? Very likely. Was it something more profound? A calm, secluded disagreement over her direction tennis, about decision-making authority in light of the enormous stakes? That no one can be certain, but those present said that the energy was not a coach's and players' energy simply putting up more effort. It was the vitality of two individuals attempting to anything that has been developing for a while. Because this is what the majority of people I have no idea. What seemed to be a practice in reality, the public surface was the session of a personal tempest. Additionally, the storm had been getting together for months. This is the unsettling reality of Alex Eala's circumstance in which no one in the tennis press has been prepared to state straight. 3 coaches have worked with her in about a year. Sandro and Daniel Gomez Joan Bosch, venerable 3 distinct ideologies, 3 distinct collections of guidelines for serving, how to move and deal with pressure. 3 several males informing a 20-year-old woman what she must do in order to become the she is already something of a player, and bearing the burden of in the whole country. Tennis commentators who are following Eala's growth in 2025 is evident. And openly that her service continued to be a technical flaw on her clay court game required improvement, that her capacity to use tactical variety was still evolving. These are valid observations, but consider seeing the findings not as an anonymous player with a ranking in the 200s, but as the most well-known tennis player in the history of the Philippines, placed in the top 50, performing in front of her own individuals with your face painted on the wall outside the stadium. The strain that came with Eala's spectacular ascent was something no coaching system fully prepared her for. Joan Bosch, who is truly connected to Eala and has talked of her with great respect and evident pride, admitted publicly that even he was astonished by how swiftly Miami occurred. Everything occurred extremely rapidly. He remarked that velocity, the speed of ascension, generates a certain form of psychological exposure that players typically have years to create fortifications against. Eala didn't have years, she had months. And when you get up so quickly, when anticipation builds up, that every coaching choice soon becomes into enhanced. Each misfiring serve in a pivotal event bears the burden of all the hours spent practicing at the school. Every tactical error made during a crucial game poses a query. Who came up with the idea? Who instructed her to play that way? Is the coaching that is in line with the athlete, or is attempting to rebuild a player via coaching who had already prevailed? Following the Open loss and social stigma among Philippine women, what did the media and the Philippines do? Social media always does. It looked for justifications. Filipino admirers who had devoted a great deal of emotional energy to the competition started posing questions. Some were helpful while others weren't. Remarks criticizing Eala's performance planning, her strategy against Osorio, as well as the function of her coaches started to circulate. The heat wasn't just it was on Alex and those in the vicinity. Additionally, Joan Bosch, a guy with he really committed himself to Alice's growth, who helped her navigate her career's most stunning run, found himself in the unpleasant status of being closely examined not for what he said, but for what transpired on the court. As one reporter detailed on social media, Alex Eala attended a practice court from the Central Court to work with her coach Joan on a few things. Bosch right away following her straight sets loss, and she seemed upset with her game the whole time and very uneasy on her serve. Work on a few things. Those four terms convey a vast amount of significance. What then? What precisely is taking place during the tutoring partnership that has provided the greatest guidance notable tennis player in the Philippines past? Is the present configuration built to transport her to her next destination? This is something that alters your read this narrative through to the end. Bosh, Joan publicly addressing the Madrid Open in 2025 made a statement that seemed like a praise, but kept a silent admission. Regarding Eala, he said that she is a highly clever individual, very coachable, while it's also true that everything going extremely nicely for her. Finish the quote. Go through that once again. Additionally, it is true that for her, everything goes very well. That is a coach admitting anything sensitive, that his players' gut feelings and natural talent has been generating outcomes that can surpass the coaching structure. So, in a way, Alex Eala triumphs despite technological constraints, not only due to coaching interventions. Additionally, when a coach knows and when they're sincere enough to saying it aloud produces an intriguing and delicate tension in the connection from the moment when the results cease flowing in, the question did the coaching fail? Or did the player's inherent advantage momentarily evaporated under pressure? And there is another layer to this. Tony Nadal, Rafael Nadal's uncle, one of the most regarded coaching brains in the sport, was the one who initially suggested Bosh to Eala. The Nadal Academy's success is linked to her reputation. The organization has genuine interests in how, as this tale comes to a finish, the Eala-related coaching choices it's never just about tennis. They are about heritage, about the brand of the school, about the implications for the future of an organization established by one of the best winners in the history of the sport observed. Even Rafael Nadal intervened at one position, allegedly seeing Eala having trouble serving at the academy and taking a racket in person to show. Bosh claims that Nadal told her straight out, "This used to occur to me as well. Try this alternative." Finish the quote. That is just remarkable. Moment. The best player on the clay court, his retirement is interrupted by historical events. To mentor a 20-year-old directly Filipino girl via a technical crisis. However, the serve is still an issue, still a work in progress, yet the region that experts highlight when they provide an explanation for Eala's defeats. She is defeated. Thus, the locker question room in Manila was really inquiring, the query that Bosh and Eala were working on it in silence practice court after Aoreo's defeat is one of the first queries in professional tennis. When is coaching appropriate? And when does it become a hindrance? As according to one interpretation, there is an implicit Eala's climb is accompanied with stress. She now attracts energy from the center court, without seniority in the middle court. A reality that always encourages comparisons, inquiries, and perhaps silent jealousy in the changing area. That there is conflict not just between Eala and additional participants. It is present in her, between her own camp and the athlete she is evolving organically, and the player the A coaching system is being developed. She is 20 years old. She is rated number 31. As of February 2026, the world's greatest Filipino has ever been ranked. Igash Fayed has lost to her. Yelena Oapino, Yasmin, and Madison Keys Pellini. She has committed acts that are not player from her nation has ever accomplished in a sport that her nation has never really formerly owned. Additionally, somewhere among all of that, a young lady is attempting to determine the extent of her achievement is a part of the system that surrounds her and how a large portion of it is wholly hers. Because of what transpired after Manila, what Alexa did next reveals everything about her true identity. Additionally, it might be the most crucial section of this tale yet. The tale of Alex Eala is not a fairy story. It is far more than sincere than that. An account of a girl she gave herself up at the age of 12. Completely to a system, shattering all records her nation has ever set, and then stood after the worst, on a practice court potential loss. Still employed, still battling while continuing to reject less than the finest possible rendition of herself. The tension in coaching is not a scandal. It is the most organic element in the whole planet. It occurs when talent starts to surpass the container that molded it. Additionally, if Alex Eala navigates this situation in the manner that she has managed every other time in her profession with intellect, self-control, and that silent, terrible determination, then the subsequent events will make everything that has already occurred seem to be the warm-up. If this narrative changed your perception of Alex Eala, if you believe that Horizon is more than hit that highlight reel display, click the subscribe button now. We delve further. Women's tennis doesn't, according to the reports every week. I always tell.